Workflow scenario. During the definition of an entitlement segregation of duties parameter, we list the privileges that will cause an SOD violation should this privilege be requested. Ames warns the administrator of all users that would be in violation of the policy should the current configuration be saved. In this example, an SOD violation will exist if a user possesses Group 1 and a request is made to provision Group A. By accessing the Sarbanes-Oxley page of the Group 1 privilege and telling Ames that a Group A privilege will cause a segregation of duty violation, Ames automatically lists all the users that will be in violation should this definition be saved. The workflow definition of a privilege or role determines the approvers that must approve the request before the entitlement is granted. Avateur's patented workflow for any privilege or role is accessed by selecting the workflow definition page. The flexible workflow allows a target manager, the requester's manager, and all the privilege and resource owners for this object in the catalog to participate in the approval process. Additionally, any user or group with a valid email address can be added to the workflow to suit the needs of the organization. Workflow can proceed sequentially by assigning a routing order to each approver in the process. Sequential approvers provide the logical AND. For example, for requesting the Group 1 privilege, the target's manager must approve first, followed by the owner of Group 1, and finally the owner of the resource container where the Group 1 privilege resides. Workflow can also include the logical OR at any level by assigning participants the same routing order. In this example, we can add the user A falls to the workflow approval process and give A falls the same routing order as W widget. This changes the workflow in the following way. When the Group 1 privilege is requested, the target's manager must approve, then B Edwards, the privilege owner, and then either A falls or Walter widget. If A falls or Walter widget approves, the entitlement is granted. The workflow can also be turned off for a privilege or role. This effectively means that if a request for the privilege or role is made, it is automatically approved. Ames will warn you of this situation. Workflow can be configured to set reminders for approvers should they not approve their items in a timely manner. We can also set parameters to escalate the workflow to the workflow participant's manager should the participant not act on their tasks within a set period of time. There are several Identity Enforcer security options that control what approvers can do and what conditions will be triggered when certain actions occur. For example, use the user's manager as the approver if the target user is the only approver. That prevents a user from submitting a request for themselves where they are the only approver. Their manager would have to approve. We can also skip an approver if they requested the access. This is useful when the manager is the first approver in the approval sequence and the manager is submitting a request for their subordinate user. Finally, people can assign delegates for approval and requesting while they are out. The Identity Enforcer client has a Proxy My Authority feature that will allow the definition of a person to act as the approver's proxy for a specified amount of time. During the time that the proxy is in place, both the workflow participant and their proxy will receive email notifications each time there is some work to do.